Hey, it's Todd Ault. This is June 24th, episode 230 of Risk On. Sorry about the coughing. Pretty sure it is the best show about risk ever, but that's a disclaimer. Probably not. It may not be the best show about risk ever, but I love the show. And I love Jason Bartholomew. Jason, what's up? You're in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, man. We saw a nice run in the market today. That was surprising to me, considering the consumer sentiment came in really low. New home sales bombed. But, yeah, pretty interesting day.
Jason, what are your thoughts on the market right now? It seems kind of crazy. It's calming down. But I'm sure the whole world has changed its focus, at least in the United States, to Roe v. Wade. So do you think this was a Roe v. Wade rally? Do you think that the market wanted to see abortion get outlawed in a lot of states?
No, it didn't have anything to do with the market today, in my opinion. I mean,
that was a joke.
The Supreme Court has come out with a couple of big rulings lately. First with the New York State.
Oh, you're going to steal my thunder. You're going to steal my thunder, but let's go with it.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you got to be impressed with the fact that they basically said to New York. So it's interesting how things get spun. They basically said, you can't take away someone's right to a concealed weapon and make all these things so difficult, right? The right to bear arms is an essential right. But it's so complicated because they're still saying that the states can still check people and do all those things that they need to do. So it's a really, what were your thoughts on that ruling?
Well, if they still infringe, there'll be a series of lawsuits. This is never ending. I mean, it's one side of the aisle that believes that they can usurp the Constitution, and the other side of the aisle, half of them are kind of with the Democrats and the rhinos together. I don't know. I just think Clarence Thomas is a boss. I think the entire Supreme Court should be nothing but Clarence Thomas's. It's my opinion.
Oh, God. Hey, guys, it's June 24th. It's the 24th of June, 2022. Can you believe this? The half the year, Jason, is like passing us by.
Yeah, there's a lot of a year left, though. We got a lot of stuff going on in our day jobs, Todd. That's for sure. I mean, I got a lot of stuff moving around, moving parts, stuff being delivered, a lot of stuff going on. It's pretty exciting. You know, Bitcoin, it looks like Ethereum had a big pop today, over 1230 right now. Bitcoin 21.3. So, you know, it moved with the markets. Unfortunately, that's not how we think of Bitcoin, but currently that's where it's pegged.
I know that people that are shareholders of BitNow Holdings often just associate us only with Bitcoin. But ironically, I'm down here in Miami where I visited with the management team of a company called The Singing Machine, where we have a large stake in that company now. And obviously, if you read the 13D filing, you'll see we will be consolidating their revenue. So that is $52 million of additional revenue that will show up ultimately going forward on the balance sheet and the income statement of BitNow Holdings. We continue to build the holding company that is BitNow. We ended the quarter, I believe, at $518 million in assets and growing. So I don't think I could be prouder of the team, Jason. I see what you're doing on the Bitcoin side, on the mining side, installing miners, the whole team there with Joe and everybody. I'm very thrilled with what's happening. And obviously there's pluses and minuses with Bitcoin prices being down. I don't look at it as a negative. I look at it as a half bull situation because we have such a long-term commitment to Bitcoin, Jason. So I know that you have probably seen me not as worried as you thought I'd be worried.
No, not really. I mean, we're always looking for power opportunities to diversify. We've talked about that in the past. We're taking delivery of our miners on time, so everything's going smoothly, even though the price isn't really where we want it to be. But the difficulty recently was reduced slightly, and the global hash rate has come down some because a lot of the big miners had signed on to hosting agreements, whereas the power that they signed up for was, give or take, 9 to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's just not going to get it done, Todd, not in the climate of the Bitcoin price and difficulty right now. So you're seeing some machines come offline, go back online. There's a lot of volatility there in the global hash rate.
Right. I'm sorry, Christy, was there something you had to say there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I was definitely going to get to her. But before I get to Skyla and other things, obviously been traveling, so we don't do as many shows.
Yeah.
We're trying to make the show it's a risk on show. We cover a lot of the other issues. So we don't just cover BitNile, and that's been a problem because everyone tuning in really is only focused on that. So we are trying to diversify. So speaking of diversified, Kirk Kerkorian, the founder of the MGM Casino, the original owner of he's probably bought the MGM studios, I think 3 times. He passed away a few years ago. He used to own a big chunk of Chrysler, created the International Hotel, brought Elvis Presley to Vegas. One of the icons of business, one of my favorite people in the whole world, someone I consider to be one of the most important business people, and someone I admire. I interviewed the guy who wrote his book, William Rempel, and it's going to be on next Thursday. He's a veteran investigative reporter and wrote several books. The Gambler is the book. It's about the aviator Kirk Kerkorian. He's a full risk-on guy. I want you to check it out next week. I will be talking about Kirk Kerkorian and a lot about him in the future because I have a future deal happening there. I'm really thrilled about this interview. It's one of my favorite ever. Christy, probably the longest interview I've ever done, right? Is this the full podcast or is it? Oh my God,
it was so long. It was so long.
Oh, I would love to see the clip. Hold on a second. Let me log on to YouTube from my hotel room so I can actually see. Hold on one second before we go live with that. I definitely want to see that clip. Hold on one second. Well, I'll put my thing on mute here so I don't cause any backlash problems here. And okay, so I'm logged on now. Let's definitely check it out.
Here's a man who was a heroic wartime figure, an aviator, flying planes in a place where there were no navigational devices. They flew at night so they could use the stars. I mean, he was a pioneer of aviation.
Pioneer.
He owned every one of the big three auto companies. He changed the face of Las Vegas. He introduced something called the leisure industry.
No, I people don't realize that there was no big businesses that owned casinos until the rules were changed for him and Howard Hughes, effectively.
Well, they changed the rules.
They did change the rules, right?
With Kirk and with Howard Hughes, you had people who didn't need the mob's money. They brought their own. They were their own banker.
Sure.
And so that changed the rules. That changed the tenor. It changed everything.
Hey guys, next week we're going to be in MidOhio. Jason and I and the team are traveling to MidOhio to see the BitNile racing team, Ed Carpenter, Renus VK, Connor Daly. Connor Daly's doing great right now, by the way. Shout out to him. Really coming on strong. We're going to be at MidOhio, and if you are a fan of Indy and you live in Ohio and you want to go to the race, send us a line. Get a hold of Randy at Ault Alliance. And send him a message and say, hey, I'm in MidOhio. Love to go there. I see boats talking about MidOhio. Love to meet you guys. If you're going to be there, make sure you email Randy at Ault Alliance. Jay Money, you're still going to MidOhio, right?
I'll be there for sure.
What about you, Skylar? Are you going to MidOhio or are you flaking out again?
Of course I'm going. I'm going to every single race for the rest of the year, unless there's like the complications with Toronto, but I'm going to every single one. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that I've been in a better mood, Jason. I want to go to a market update with you. Can we go through some of the numbers? Don't know, Jason, that I've been in a better mood when I see the things you've done. I mean, Jason, I'm so with every, there's always a sliding door, a positive and a negative. And with the negative in Bitcoin prices pulling back, it has changed and made some things available to us that otherwise weren't. But Jason, I'm wondering, what's your commentary right now on sort of market conditions? I saw we had a big rally today, and why do you think all of a sudden, is it just a bounce off the bottom in your opinion? Do you think people are calming down as we get towards, the second half of the year, get towards an election? What's going on in your mind about the market?
No, I think there's just a lot of short positions today. We just had a lot of momentum. I don't know why, because it was a Friday. It was a short trading week, so I guess maybe there's a little more liquidity. Some people were just kind of pent up, but I wouldn't think anything of it. I think the market's gonna just go right back down next week. I'm a bear, obviously. We have serious issues with debt in this country, serious issues with inflation in this country, globally actually, big time problems with everyday Americans and liquidity. All of their U.S. dollars, their fiats being stretched everywhere from food to energy, daycare. I mean, student loans, rent, mortgages, interest rates, everything's going through the roof, Todd. And I don't think that's going to change. The Fed is reactionary. They're way behind the 8 ball. I mean, you're looking at CPI numbers, 8.5, 8.7, real inflation, probably 15% in my opinion. So I think we're heading towards a recession. You can make a case to say that you're already in a recession. You're seeing a lot of the commodities going down because of the recession fears, less building, contraction in the housing market, new home starts are going to start to slow down. Copper's down to $3.74. Todd, I don't know if you saw that. A lot of commodities are starting to retract.
I don't know that I've ever could have imagined in my life what I'm about to read you, and that is Tesla to pay workers abortion travel costs after moving headquarters to Texas. So they're going to pay, if someone in Texas needs an abortion, they're going to pay for them to travel to get it. JP Morgan is going to do the same thing. We're going to pay for them to get an abortion wherever they need to get one. Jason, every day that I think I've seen it all, I haven't.
What's the fiduciary responsibility there to the shareholders? Yeah, I don't know. I guess people can vote with their dollars not to own the stock or to own the stock. I mean, some say that abortion's not, about the right of a woman to choose, the right of the unborn to live. Some people say that. A lot of people say that. When life begins isn't defined in the Constitution, I don't think. It's an issue that the framers left to the states' rights. So that must determine if life begins at conception, at birth, or somewhere in between. I don't know. I'm a libertarian. Personally, this is really an issue that's, I'm pretty pro-choice, Todd, to be honest.
I think my problem here is that I don't know how to define when life begins. It doesn't begin when it can't survive outside the mom. There's no way. I don't think a logical person can say that. I know that people put together logical arguments, but I think the second that we try to tell women that they have to do something that they don't want to do with their own body when it comes to having a baby and the commitment that they have to have, there's a lot of philosophical and religious arguments. I bring it down to the fact that I don't want anyone telling my two daughters that they have to have a baby if they make a mistake and they get pregnant.
Well, so in that, there's people who are having miscarriages and it's being sent to jail for having a miscarriage when it's not even their fault. That's ridiculous. People are literally getting sent to jail for having a miscarriage that had nothing to do with them. And in certain states,
Skyla, I'm not aware of that part.
That's happening in certain states right now. If you have a miscarriage and and that can happen for any number of reasons. And so now women are afraid to even get pregnant, and then the people that make the mistake to get pregnant can't get an abortion. So it's all messed up.
It's a states'
all
rights.
Types of messed
the
up.
Constitution, it's a states' rights issue. So if you don't want to live in Florida or Texas, and go live in California or New York, you can have as many abortions as you want. Todd, my body, my choice. Personally that Skyla and I decided not to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
And that we can go down that road too. It's a slippery slope, and you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, well, let me just try to get back on this risk on. This is a risk on conversation because people are very emotional about it. I know I have a family member that's incredibly unhappy right now about it. And what I would say is, I try to look at it. There's a constitutional argument. I know people want to blame the Supreme Court, but there is no right in the Constitution for an abortion. It doesn't really exist. So the legislature has to deal with this. And so from a purist constitutional perspective, it's always been a state issue. It's always should have been a state issue because the individual states have the right to choose in their community how they act and behave. And then we as citizens can live wherever we want, and we can move to areas of the world that best fit the goals, responsibilities, and the things we want in our lives.
Yeah.
So when people try to say that it's a right, they're not really thinking of it in the purest way that it isn't a right, right? What is a right for you to live in a place that allows you to have the freedoms you want to have. I think that it's a complicated issue, but I was going to say, that's a long answer, Jason, for me to say to you that I'm pro-choice, and I've always been pro-choice.
Yeah.
Now, I know people that have had multiple abortions, and I think that became a tool of birth control or stupidity, and they didn't do the things they needed to do to prevent them from getting pregnant. And that part to me is a sad thing, because I think abortion should be used on a limited basis.
I do also.
But
yeah, there should be a limit for sure.
It's a states' rights thing. That's what it comes down to.
But at the end of the day, it's a states' rights issue, unless you want to amend the Constitution, which we're allowed to do,
sure,
as a country, or if you want to pass a federal law that makes it legal. But people don't realize that Roe v. Wade was not a federal law. It was a court ruling on a case. And the people of Mississippi and the people of Texas, they have the right to do what they want to do. And it's up to the individual states if you follow the Constitution. So what I don't like is the media not making the very logical argument and being clear. They think something, what's up? So what's so funny?
People in the comments.
Just people just like, I mean, these are major issues, and we're going to talk about them. They're risk-on events.
Yeah.
I don't really care what you think there, Ronald Bollinger. In fact, we're going to discuss this stuff at a high level, and we're going to voice our opinions, and we're going to voice what happened in the current events. So if you don't like it, just click off.
Yeah, just don't watch. If you have an issue, just don't watch.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't looking at the comments today, so I apologize, Jason.
Yeah, no worries.
Not paying attention to them. But I do have to deal with this. I do have a younger daughter, older daughter, and my older daughter is obviously from California, was born there, lives in Seattle, has a very specific view on the rights of females. I support her view that she should have the right to do what she needs to do with her body. But I don't support the idea that the states shouldn't have the selection of what they want to do. It is up to the states and the communities to make their own decisions. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Okay. But one of the reasons why I do not run for office, besides the fact that I said to someone the other day, I think Skylar said, well, Donald Trump ran for office, so you'll be fine. I have you did. I have lifestyle choices that I choose that I think that some Americans wouldn't be a fan of. But that's a different story, right? I do things, whether it means I drink an occasional adult beverage, like a martini with 3 blue cheese olives, dirty.
3 exactly.
It has to be 3 or you don't get a tip, right? Well, if I ask for 3 olives and you bring me 2, it means you're not paying attention to my request. So,
right.
But I'll still give you a tip, but not an oversized tip.
Yeah.
But we did get to have some of those that take place when we were in excess. But Jason, I want to get back to the market, because I think we don't have exactly the same view on this. I don't know that the market is going down a lot more, as much as I will say to you that until you get an inflation number that starts to come under control and the Fed continues to lift those rates and be aggressive, you have a gravitational pull. And by the way, if you go look at some of the shows that Jason and I have done, and I'm not one to toot a horn, but our commentary has been pretty remarkable, actually. I've looked at some of the things like Netflix. Remember, we were talking about how this is unsustainable at $700, Jason. Today, they announced they're laying off 300 people.
We talked about Robinhood, too.
We talked about Robinhood. If you listen to our longer risk-on views, you see a bigger picture developing. And so those people out there that comment to me on Nimal, I remind you to go back to December 20th of 2000, I think it was 17 or 18. in which I laid out a 10-year plan. I can't, everyone acts as if they're astonished why we're doing things. But if you just read the decks and saw that I said I was going to raise all this money, you wouldn't be, stop raising money. No, I'm in charge. I have a board I report to. I laid out a plan for that board. They've endorsed it. That board is not related to me. Mm-hmm. They're independent directors that have chosen to choose the path that I went down and took the company down. I have an independent board. And for those of you who are out there saying shit, you're not even paying attention. I haven't been the CEO of the company for years. I'm not the CEO of BitNow Holdings, guys. Hello. I mean, you have no credibility because you don't even read the filings. So those of you who read the filings and you want to say I wouldn't do something, that's fine. But those of you who accuse me of all kinds of bad behavior, like lying, aren't listening, right? When I say we're not using something at this time, and I'll give you an example of when there were times we were not using the ATM. When I say we're not using the ATM at this time, it doesn't mean I'm never going to use the ATM. It means that right now we're not using it. So I guess, Jason, one of the things I'm bummed about is that, when you saw this, it's never different, right? When you start seeing AMC, we're going to hold it, we're apes, and there's a whole new generation of investors. At the end of the day, the rightful owners of the company want to see their company make a profit, and that's how they value the business. And I look at everything we're buying, like the singing machine company, which we bought a stake in, or what we did with EcoArc and the oil and gas business. All the things that we're doing have been laid out in terms of a diversified holding company for a long time. Now, I did change the name of the company to BitNow Holdings because I thought we'd want to focus people on the future because we made such a big commitment to Bitcoin. But has that really helped anyone understand what we're doing? Probably not. I don't know. The jury's out on that. But Jason, are there any individual names that you like? I happen to like, and by the way, this show is for entertainment purposes. I happen to be a big fan of GE. Pulled back a lot. Mm-hmm. This is after a big reverse. Stock is around $68, $66. Starting to look at the old school GE and what's happening in GE. I think that looks cheap. But I'm not a gigantic fan of a lot of stocks out there. JP Morgan's pulled back. These are sort of traditional bigger stocks, bigger mega cap stocks. Jason, anything on your radar you like?
I'll show you one I'm watching. FCX, Freeport McMoRan, the largest copper producer in the country, maybe in the world. Pretty good drawdown here, $30.86 now. Let's look at the 1 year chart. Yeah, if Nick, you got it. Yeah, I'm watching this here. I'm watching FCX. So copper's actually come down quite a bit, $3.74 a pound. I think FCX comes down even further. I like it at like 25. It's just my opinion. So I'm just been watching.
Oh, that's pulled back a lot then, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So nothing's changed about them except the spot price of copper, which going into a recession should continue to fall, which will directly affect Freeport's profits. But nothing has changed really with the business and the operation and the mines they have. It's just the margins are a little bit less. So we're going to watch that. I doubt they reduce their dividend. They have a ton of cash on the balance sheet. So I like that company a lot. And I bet on CEOs and executive chairman. I like this one right here. This guy, here you go, Hive Blockchain. Very big hodl of Ethereum, mining Ethereum and Bitcoin. Frank Holmes, executive chairman. I've been fortunate enough to talk to Frank. Love the guy. He was on, if you guys get a chance to check out Stansberry Research on YouTube, Frank Holmes had an interview with this lady, Daniela. It was a very good interview talking about what's going on with the economy, with commodities, with precious metals. He's one of the few guys, Todd. He's not like Peter Schiff, who is very polarizing. He loves precious metals. He hates Bitcoin. Frank Holmes, founder of ticker symbol GROW, a precious metal ETF. Take a look at GROW. And he's also the executive chairman of Hive Blockchain, Todd. So he has precious metals on one hand, and then he's got crypto on the other hand. So pretty interesting dynamic.
I want to give you some full disclosure about some stuff I'm talking about. I am not recommending Mullen. I want to say this again. I am not recommending Mullen. I invested in the company, for BitNow Holdings, when Mullen was a private company. So we have a lot of rights and warrants that other people don't have. Not suggesting you buy it. However, it is interesting how much strength that stock has been having. Really, I saw a day last week where the market was terrible and it was up substantially. That's interesting strength. I agree with Jason. HIVE, HIVE. They did a reverse. Stocks come down. They're holding a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Very interesting HIVE. I want to give everyone, for full disclosure, you saw that we made an investment in Zest, Z-E-S-T.
Yeah.
We are the largest individual shareholders. So anyone listening to this should understand, I am not recommending you buy it. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
Yep.
Do your own research. What I love about Zest is what is in the documents. If you read the documents, it is what I'm encouraging you to do with what you're doing with BitNow Holdings. Don't listen to me. Read the documents. What they have in oil and gas, what they have in power, what they're doing with the Walmart lawsuit. I think the stock is interesting. Obviously, we put our money where our mouth is there. Not recommending any of those three stocks. I'm just telling you what I'm looking at. I think Jason and I, one thing that Jason is really good at, if you've ever played poker with him, is he just looks at the numbers. And so when we look at HIVE, he's just saying numerically, very inexpensive, a way to play something that has been overdone, in our opinion. Jason, what do you think of things like Grayscale, the Bitcoin Trust?
Grayscale, I didn't look at it today. It was trading like 30% below NAV, which is an interesting way to get exposure to Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin or, the derivatives on the brokerage exchanges. So, yeah, I mean, Grayscale last week was a buy, in my opinion, if you wanted exposure to Bitcoin. Another thing about reading documents, Todd, I just noticed that Borks, BRQS, just came out with a 1-for-16 reverse split effective June 27th. So I know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that we've had a position in Borks in the past, so I just thought that was interesting.
We actually have a position in Borks now, very small. But remember, we do a lot of structured finance still through our digital power lending business. Jason, that business, our lending business just continues to, it's remarkable, really, what's happening there, right?
Yeah.
We lend to other public companies, folks. And I see people all the time, shareholders of BitNow Holdings, not paying attention to first quarter, how much the lender did. We'll be finding out how much the lender did in the second quarter. The licensed lender is a really big and important component of the company, and something that we worked really hard to get, develop, and build. And so that's where Jason and I focus our time and energy. Jason actually focuses his time on energy and minor procurement and power, but Jason's analytical mind helps me look at risk-reward ratios. The show Risk On is all about that, and that is how much risk you're willing to take.
Speaking about that risk, Todd, it looks like Ken Griffin, the big dog at Citadel, moving his moving headquarters from Chicago, Illinois to Miami, Florida. Now he's choosing to move into a different state. Risk on event. Why do you think that is? Well, could be taxes, could be high crime and concerns in Illinois, with Chicago with Mayor Lightfoot not doing the job well there. So there's an exact a choice that he's made where he's going to pick up and move. Obviously, Elon moved to Texas. So, yeah, you don't have to stay in one state for your whole life. As you know, Todd, you decided that it was enough in California with taxation, crime, traffic. You picked up everything after 40-some years and moved to Nevada.
Yeah, I would say to you, it took, the idea. First of all, people have the wrong idea about Las Vegas. They think that, like Jason lives in a high rise, with some of the most famous people in the world being his neighbors. I live in a community on a golf course. So when you come to Las Vegas to see me, you don't really see Las Vegas unless we go to the Strip. But people only identify Las Vegas as this sort of like crazy gambling town, when really it's a really home-based community. There is a transitory nature to it in the sense that people move there from other places, because not a lot of people, there are now first and second generation people from Vegas, but there wasn't for the longest time. Skyla, you moved out of a state that you grew up in, California. What's the move been like for you so far?
Well, I was like, before I moved here, I was concerned about like the desert because I've always lived in California, either northern or southern, and it's, you know, it's very different climate here. But I think like I adapted really well to the heat, surprisingly. It didn't bother me. And I don't know if I like it better. The only thing I miss about California is the ocean. That's literally the only thing that I miss. But there's lakes here and stuff like that. I feel like the people in general are like nicer here. I feel like people, like in California, you're walking in a grocery store and smile at somebody and they just give you a dirty look for no reason. And I feel like there's always something to do here. There's like, people will always come to Vegas, and it's like a kind of an excuse. Like people will come visit, but then it's like, oh, you can also go to Vegas, but then you can also chill. And I feel like the neighborhood that we live in is very community based, and I like that. Like you can walk at night safely, and I really like Vegas. I've really come to like it.
Yeah, I would say one of the best decisions I've made in a long time was moving to Nevada. I was thrilled that Jason moved here from Florida, although Jason and Andrea love Florida too. So I get a sense that at any moment, Jason and Andrea, because like I'll go back and forth to Florida if I want to, because they're similar, although one has so much humidity and one has no humidity. Yeah. But I find myself amazed that it was 109 degrees the other day, and I thought, oh, it's not bad at all. Once you get used to it here,
yeah,
you actually get used to 109 degrees.
Just a dry heat.
Temperature.
Dry heat,
yeah.
Todd. Dry heat.
Exactly. I do want to say to everybody watching, we are going to try to go back to a little bit of a normal schedule in the sense that we're going to do it we are doing the show live on Fridays. We are going to have other shows popping up. It is a little, bums me out a little bit that the show is not on a more regular basis, but we do a lot of traveling now.
Yeah. I mean, Todd,
so it's Friday after.
We don't talk about Nimal anymore, but you can't see the chat. There's like a bunch of people saying, Nimal is going to reverse split. Nile's going to reverse split. Like all this stuff. Why are you talking about other companies reverse splitting, guys? Is that you're sending us a message? I don't know if you want to comment on that.
All right. Well, let me log on and see some of the comments here.
All right.
Okay. So let me say what's been legally approved to say.
Perfect.
First of all, we don't have approval to reverse split. We'd have to seek that from shareholders. Second of all, I have no intention today, and I have no intention, and if it changes, I'll let you know, to even request approval from shareholders. So anyone saying it's going to reverse has their head up their ass. Why am I saying that? Because I've answered this question so many times. If for some reason we were going to reverse, we would have to seek approval from shareholders to do that. We'd have to ask your permission. And that means we'd have to file a proxy. Now, I want to make a couple things clear. We are not on the NASDAQ, folks. We are on the New York American Stock Exchange. And they don't have a $1 rule. The NASDAQ does. Now, am I happy the stock is down here? No. I think it should be trading for where we raised money, which was way over $1. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not recommending now.
Right.
I wouldn't go buy it if you didn't understand the business. But I've laid out a long-term plan for the company, for the board. The employees understand this. And so when you look at us growing our asset base to more than 500 million now, obviously the quarter is going to come up and we'll report that quarter. And you look at the fact that we had an operational profit in the first quarter, we're focused on our plan. We're not focused on reversing the stock. Now, the stock did reverse before. Bitcoin went from 20,000 to
38,
3,000.
Yeah.
It hurt us very badly. And we have a shareholder base that is high turnover. They do a lot of trading. And I know doesn't feel good. I'm not happy with it. But I continue to purchase more. I see people saying I bought it for a fund. Yes, we are an investor in the fund. Digital Power Lending is an investor, but there are other people in the fund also. It's not. I can't I can't continually be available to just continually answer questions or commentary that are just not true. Now, the people writing it could be speculating that there should be a reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, AUMN on the American, have they reversed?
No, they haven't, and actually they've actually shown a profit last quarter. They're actually heading in the right direction. They have not reversed, to my knowledge.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that we would never, ever, 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 ever do it. You can never say never, but we have zero plans to do so. Zero.
Yeah.
And we don't need to do so.
No.
We have cash in the bank. We reported, I believe, 36 or 39 million for the end of the quarter. We've told the market where our sales are expected to be 155 million plus. We just bought a company that will add sales to our consolidated balance sheet. And so I simply don't know what to tell you. The people that hate or the people that believe that we suck should just not be shareholders. And I'm not telling you to not be one, but really, why do you want? If you don't like us so much, why hang out here? Like, why? It makes no sense to me. If Skyla or Jason didn't like me, well, I know Jason. I don't know about Skyla because she's a relative, but Jason would just leave. Jason would just say, Todd, I'm not going to hang out with you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm a shareholder. I'm technically, so I'm not an officer of the company. I don't have to file Form 4s, but I will tell you I am a shareholder personally, and I'm trying to execute the business plan every day. I work hard. It takes time. We're a new mining entity, so we're just getting a year under our belt now, and we just keep moving forward. That's all I can say about that.
I actually want to say something that will make sense. When we announced we were going to buy EYP as the stalking horse bidder, I had people attacking me that we were buying a bankrupt company, and then I realized people don't realize what a stalking horse bidder is. We helped them go into bankruptcy, and we got paid a $2-point-something million breakup fee to help them do that stalking horse bid. And we did bid for the company, and we lost to someone who bid more than us.
Yep.
Someone we know bid 70 million. They bid like 8 million more than we did. And someone in the industry, another engineering firm. And this is when I realized that people that just say stuff, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how sophisticated Chris Wu is. They don't understand that he's done over 150 bankruptcy transactions, and that bankruptcy is a tool when buying a company that may be over-levered or has issues. And these are just emotional conversations that don't make sense. And ironically, we'll make money because we bid for that company, even though we didn't win. So we'll have money come back. Read the documents, right? So I would invite people. One of the reasons why Warren Buffett will never split his stock is he wants to invite people that have the same attitude he does. I have never sold a share of my personal Nile, ever. Unfortunately, I feel like I should have when it was a lot higher, but I believe in the business plan. And so I would encourage everyone who sees people talking about reverses. It's important to know that reverses are always possible, but long before we would do a reverse, we have to seek your permission. We'd have to do a filing called a proxy. The SEC would have to review it or not review it. It's up to them. And then you would be called to vote on that. We have no plans at this time to call a vote to do that. So, and I have been buying the stock for the fund, and I've been buying it in my personal account. So I really don't know what to tell you. Those people who keep chattering about that are just chattering about that. And that's just the nature of it.
So EYP, one door theoretically closes, another door could open. Todd, just one thing. And this is just generally speaking, I'm getting a lot of emails with opportunities in the Bitcoin space where there could be opportunities to take advantage of this drawdown. I'm not saying we are, I'm not saying we aren't, but I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot of opportunities right now in the space. With all these drawdowns and all the volatility comes opportunities. So, Todd raised a lot of capital. We're in a good position to maybe take advantage of opportunities. And, that's just something that occurs in a down market.
Yeah, just know from me personally, I don't want you to buy, Niall. I don't want you to take risk that you don't understand. So if you understand the risk, do what you think is right for yourself. I happen to be buying it because I believe in the long-term plan. Listen, I have had some success and I've had some failures. But I've had more success than I've had failures, and I get up every day with my team and continue to fight to make it happen. Am I happy with the price? Absolutely not. I am not happy. But I do have a goal to make sure the company has size and scale to be able to earn a profit and to have free cash flow. That's my most important thing. And I want to develop a culture for the company that's the best culture. We are trying to allow our holdings, our different holdings like Gresham Worldwide, Turn On Green, Digital Power Lending, Agree, all global real estate equities, the stuff we own in AdTech and UES, the bus manufacturer, the repurposed bus manufacturer for EV, BidNal Inc., which is the miner, Alliance Cloud Services, which we bought 100% of now, the data center. We're trying to allow those companies to operate as independent as they can and focus towards becoming more decentralized where their teams run their individual teams. And I'm pretty proud of those teams. Jason, anything else we want to cover before we decide to move on?
Not a whole lot. Ms. Producer's telling us to move on, so I guess we need to wrap up this segment. It's been very, very informative. Don't know if this is true, but BMR Traders is pretty reputable. He says he just read that Goldman is trying to buy out Celsius. Not confirmed. Goldman is trying to buy out Celsius. Not confirmed. Something BMR Traders just typed in the chat.
I don't know that that's true or not, but I will tell you that I've read online and have some communication with people in the space that Celsius is probably going to seek Chapter 11. I don't know if that pushes another down trend for Bitcoin or not. Whenever you do work with a new financial product, whenever you spend time manipulating new products and services around it like they did at Celsius, and I don't mean manipulating in a bad way. They took contracts and they took stuff happening in DeFi.
Big leverage.
And they tried to build. What'd you say?
Big leverage. A lot of leverage.
Yeah, they tried to build a business around it. And as Warren Buffett says, whenever you can take the smartest person in the world and put leverage on it, can make them look stupid pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I'm going to slow down for a second. So let's say that Jason and I and Skyla, we decide we're going to buy a $100,000 house. Jason and I, along with Skyla, we put up $3,000 a piece, $3,300 each. We got our 10 grand together, and we go and we buy the house, and we get 90% financing, right? So we buy the house for $100,000. We borrow from the bank $90,000, and me, Jason, and Skyla now own the house. We all have $10,000 of equity. We split 3 ways. Let's say the house goes up in value by 10%. It goes to $110,000. Well, Skyla and I and Jason look brilliant. We just doubled our money because now we still owe the bank $90,000. We owe the bank $90,000, and I'm going to plug in because I'm losing a little power here. So we owe the bank $90,000, and the house went up 10%. So the $100,000 house is now $110,000. Jason and I and Skylar are all happy. Wow, look what we made. And we did it again, right? But let's say that same house that we bought for $100,000 went down by 10%. Because of the leverage, 90% we borrowed against the asset, we still owe the bank $90,000, but yet the house is worth $90,000, so our $10,000 is wiped off the planet.
Yep.
And we had to sell it because we can't afford the payment for some reason. Now we're screwed. Skyla loses all of her money, so does Jason and myself, and after brokerage commissions, we probably owe money to sell that.
You're talking exactly like the Airbnb business model where mom and pops got involved, and they want, that could happen for sure.
it's important to understand leverage changes everything. And back in March, when we paid that $66 million loan off, I went to Jason, the team, and the board and said, guys, the reason why we're going to raise more money is I'm paranoid that the market's going to go off a cliff. And we were right. And we did the thing of deleveraging the company very quickly, and it was costly. I'm not happy the stock is down, but we lived to fight another day, and now we're bigger. So leverage can do a lot of foolish things, make things bad, and Celsius had leverage. And when you leverage it to a house, it doesn't have the same volatility. But when you leverage things to Bitcoin, that's a volatile asset. You're gambling. That's all I can tell you. That's a pure gamble. We don't leverage. We have operating leverage, but we're not borrowing against our Bitcoin in the sense that our Bitcoin can go up or down and have us a margin call, right? We borrow against the assets of the company. We may borrow against some actual equipment. We may borrow against some real estate, but our Bitcoin just sits in our wallet. And I was happy when we kept it when it was 40,000 because we had to sell some to pay the lender. But we've been hodling the rest of our Bitcoin, and it's just sitting there, hoping for a better day. And we keep mining away every day, dollar cost averaging into that mining. Like clockwork, right? So when you take all the noise out, this is one of the rare circumstances where if they turned off Nile for 5 years, you couldn't get a quote. The market was closed down. I'm quoting Warren Buffett. We still have businesses that run. We have hotels in Madison, Wisconsin. People forget we paid $92 million for the hotels, right? We have hotels that we put $23 million of equity down. We have a hotel opening in September that we've been building for years. The defense business, which is Gresham, has companies in it that have been around, some of them for as much as 60 years. Digital Power, the company inside Turn on Green, 53 years. So it's important if you're going to be a shareholder and invest with us. Yes, there's been some volatility. I get people texting me, I put my life savings in it. Well, then I never told you to do that. That was a foolish thing. Hopefully that is not true. Do not do that. Do not take that kind of risk. Anyways, Jason, I feel like I'm blabbering here. What are you doing for the weekend?
Tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Colossus WSOP, $400 buy-in, 40,000 chips, 40-minute levels. Should be about $1 million for first place. You'll find me at Bally's or Paris.
Nice. Skylar, what are you doing for the weekend?
Absolutely nothing. I'm gonna watch Netflix and chill. I'm gonna do nothing while I have time to do nothing.
I have been traveling so much that I'll be back. I'll be leaving Miami tomorrow. I'll be back in Las Vegas tomorrow afternoon, actually evening, and then I'm gonna stay as long as I can until Thursday evening, where I fly off to MidOhio for the race. And then that starts a whirlwind of travel.
Yeah, once that starts, it's just going to be crazy. So I was like, Roland asked me, like, what are you going to do this weekend? I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to chill while we have time.
Yeah, I have a whirlwind of travels that's taking place with IndyCar and for our businesses and really crazy stuff. And then I end that travel by I'll be in Africa in September.
Yeah,
I'll be in Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The amount of travel is crazy. Hey guys, pay close attention. Those people who want to come to the mid-year risk-on event, it is a invitation-only risk-on event that's taking place in New York City. It'll be. I'm hearing it's going to be at our new hotel, which we're looking excited about. It'll be in October. We're going to have news about that coming out soon. It'll be invitation only, will not be open to the public. So if you're a friend of the show, if you're in New York City, if you're someone that knows me, if you're a finance guy, this is an invitation only, one night only, with some very famous people that will be presenting and talking about the market, real estate, Bitcoin. Jason will be there. Skylar will be there. Christy, our producer, will be there. Brett, Nick will be there. And hopefully you're going to be there too. Skylar, what do you got for us on the joke side?
All right. Why did the dad throw his clock out the window?
Why did the dad throw his clock out the window?
He wanted to see time fly.
That's truly a dad joke
I
if
know.
I've ever heard of it. Check out the podcast next Thursday. The Gambler, William Rempel's book. It was a great podcast. I was pretty excited about that. I'm going to give you my final commentary on the market. I think that there's so much cash around that there's nowhere else to put the cash really, even with rates going up. It's not substantially higher rates in terms of, well, they are relative to zero, but relative to total return, they're pretty small. And I think you'll see these bounces along the way, but until you see inflation calm down, those numbers will be really important. By the way, in the entire 33 years I've been on Wall Street, there's always been a really important number that comes up. When I was a new broker many years ago, and there was Micron and Intel, there was a thing called book to bill. And we only cared about the book to bill ratio for semiconductors. What were they booking versus what they were billing? There was a time where it was interest rates. Alan Greenspan said irrational exuberance. This will pass. Focus your time and energy on whether you want to own the business. Don't focus on whether you want to trade the stock. Now, Jason and I do trade because there's moments in times of extreme volatility where we can take advantage of it. But I would focus my energy on when things pull back, where can I find the best deal to own a business? I happen to have thought that the number one maker of karaoke machines, one of the leaders in karaoke machines, the Singing Machine Company, I think they consider themselves the leader, been around for 40 years, EBITDA positive 9 of the last 10 years. Karaoke's a very big deal. And these guys have executed an excellent management team. The CEO's been there for 14 years. The chief revenue officer's been there for 18 years. Solid management team. I had the privilege of meeting them there this week. Special thanks to the Singing Machine, Gary, Bernardo, Lionel, the CFO. Wonderful to see you guys. Thanks for the welcome. Thanks for the dinner. Everybody, this is a Risk On. It's the 24th of June. It's the 230th episode. I'll be back on Monday. Jason and I will be doing a live show. Jason, let me confirm before this.
Yeah.
With you being in the poker tournament, will you be able to do live something Monday, or will you be busy?
Monday, I hope I live stream from from the feature table on CBS Sports. That'd be cool, right?
I will definitely keep you guys informed. I'll be back in Vegas tomorrow, rooting Jason on. Jason, do me a favor.
Yo.
I want to come see you, so can you try to make it to Sunday, please?
Yeah, so far I'm
Yeah,
over, I'm
try.
0 for 3 right now. I mean, full disclosure, not running too good. Not playing terrible, just a couple bad beats. It happens. No big deal.
I'm rooting for you. All right, everybody. Risk On. Take care, everybody. Be well. Have a happy Friday and a safe weekend. Be well.